Hey, welcome back to Focus Today. What a delight to have with us today, and very timely, our good friend David Kupelian. He works with WorldNet Daily, WND.com. His books are fantastic, and of course, there's the one that you need to read, The Snapping of the American Mind. It may have happened Tuesday night. Some think it did snap one way, and some think it snapped another way. Hi, David, good to see you.
Hey, Perry, good to be back.
Your thoughts after all this?
Like I said before we went on the air, I feel like Thanksgiving came early this year. Honestly, I don't know if people really totally grasp, and how could you, the bullet that they dodged. Everybody can speculate about what kind of presidency Donald Trump will have, okay? Right. What we don't have to speculate about is what we would have had with the Clintons. They are a known quantity. 30 plus years of sleaze and corruption and outright criminality. When I say criminality, I mean literally the kind that land you in prison for a long time. And the analysis from the news media, even from Fox News and talk radio, is, she's going to give us, 500% more Syrian refugees and raise taxes and so forth. And that's all true, and that would have been bad because the economy has not worked for 8 years under Obama. They pump open the stock market and create money and stuff, but basically we're in desperate strait as far as our economy. But the thing that bothered me the most about having Hillary as president, okay, which is the bullet that we've dodged, is that I believe, and I remember I've written 3 books about evil, and so that's my particular turf in journalism, is how evil works in society. I have a book called How Evil Works. Right. We would have seen how evil works if we had Hillary Clinton as president, because, and I made this prediction in my article about Nurse Ratched, comparing the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nurse Ratched with Hillary, in a very scientific way. She would literally have driven many people insane. I mean that in a clinical way. The young people, we already have 40% of young millennials believe socialism, which has never worked ever, is a good thing. We already have these kids on the edge in our colleges today, okay? But to have an outright criminal married to a certified sexual predator in the White House, and to glorify that, and all that is implied in society, elevating these people back into the positions of ultimate power, of basically the rulers of the world, okay? What that would do, to you and me, it would bum us out, okay? And maybe we buy more storage food or just pray more or whatever. But to a lot of young people whose souls and views are still being formed, they'd go nuts, and you'd see more acting out and criminality and people doing crazy things. You say, my God, how did that happen? Why did this person go and shoot up a classroom of people and so forth? And I'm saying, you elevate somebody like that to the president and you unleash hell on this country. And look how close we came. The vote was so close. I watched all the network news. I was a real news junkie that night, flipping around, and what was so obvious to me, even on Fox News, a lot of their commentators were in shock that Trump was sweeping the country. Now, that said, do you think what happened was divine intervention? I'm glad you asked me that, because had you not asked me that, that's what I was going to be talking about anyway.
Okay.
I absolutely do. I have a friend who is a missionary in Dominican Republic, and he emailed me yesterday, what do you think? And I made that point to him. And by the way, if you go to WorldNet Daily, the Skyline story up at the top we have Michelle Bachmann and many other people saying, yeah, absolutely, without question, this is divine intervention. My friend in Dominican Republic, he said, yeah, I think Trump is the most prayed for man in America right now. The number of people that were praying, and should continue to pray, okay, for Donald Trump is, I didn't do a poll to find out, but just empirically, the number of people that would email me And normally people don't say, oh, by the way, David, I'm praying for this or for that this week. I'm a journalist. They're dealing with me on a professional basis. But all the people I work with, the people, and I'm a hub, I get thousands of emails a week. I'm constantly a fire hose of email. Basically, we had all of Christian America, basically, not just Christian America, Jewish America, you know, the faithful were praying for their country. And, you know, 4 out of 5 white evangelical voters voted for Donald Trump in this election.
Brett Hume admitted, and I think he was somewhat shocked, but he admitted that the largest evangelical turnout in 16 years, that would be 4 election cycles. I always said that Franklin Graham going to every capital in the nation and holding a prayer meeting on the steps of those capitals did not go unnoticed in heaven. A lot of other organizations that were calling for prayer. But at the end of the day, David, at the end of the day, everybody was shocked. Now, that's a God move, isn't it? In my opinion, it's a God move.
I look at it that way. And you know, Perry, you've known me for a while, you know. So I'm a Christian believer. I'm a journalist. I don't really wear it like totally on my sleeve, where every single thing I say is God this and God that, and Jesus this and Jesus that. That's my private. That's where real life is and everything. But basically, I am a news professional and a journalist and an author and media person and so forth, and I'm just talking in terms of what we see out there. But so this is probably the first time I've ever said that something that happened, like an election result, was a result of divine intervention. But I do believe that because there is a God. And there, you know, a lot of people are quoting that wonderful verse in the 2 Chronicles
7:14,
Yeah, and there's been a lot of like very organized prayer, which is not necessarily the most important prayer. Michelle Bachmann, who was a U.S. Congresswoman and presidential candidate, we talked to her yesterday, and she was telling a story about how she was co-hosting a thing with David Barton, and they had 1 million people going in, and she said at the exact moment that they started this huge push for massive prayer, she said that is the moment when the New York Times graph, where it started off the night with Hillary Clinton up here with I think an 80% chance of winning and Trump down here with 5%, and they went like this, and at the moment that they crossed right there and they ended up like this, okay, that very moment, okay, is the time that she told us that they were opening this up and launching this organized election night prayer. Now, I'm not saying it's all that, because a lot of people have been praying for weeks and months about this. But it's a beautiful thing, and I think we need to take note of it.
Trump went into this with a 20% chance, and I know that moment because I happened to be tuning into the televisions at that time when Brett Hume, again, he came back and he said, folks, he was on his phone. He said, I just got something here. And he kind of interrupted the show and he said, the New York Times has changed it from the low 20s to 91% chance that Trump's going to win tonight. And the place erupted.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's a big thing. All right, so David, here we are. We're in a very interesting time in this country. This has been a pushback of Obama, a repudiation of his agenda in his 8 years, and socialism and the Clintons. Unlike anything we said, some say it was actually bigger than Brexit, what happened and where we are today.
Nigel Farage says it was bigger than Brexit.
Really?
And by the way, the pollsters were wrong about Brexit too.
Yeah.
They said, oh, it's going to be whatever, 5 or 10 points, whatever it was. They predicted that the vote would be to stay. And they were wrong. And they were wrong for the same reason, okay? Because they didn't understand the public. They didn't understand the people that they're ruling. Yeah. Okay, they say, oh, the pollsters, they got the candidates wrong and the election wrong. No, they got the people wrong in the U.S. election. They didn't understand where the public was at. And this is the ruling class that you'd think that they had as much understanding as Nero did of ancient Rome.
Wow. All right, let me take a break. When we come back, a question you can ponder. Since he's going in, President-elect Trump's going in with a Republican-controlled House and Senate, and granted, there are some old dogs in there that are part of the establishment. He certainly goes in with a mandate. I said yesterday on the air, he ought to go ahead and govern as if he was going to be a one-term president, because he may not have this kind of backing. David Kupelian is with us. You may want to check out his latest book, The Snapping of the American Mind, and you can read a lot of his articles daily at worldnetdaily.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Okay, welcome back to Focus Today, and delighted to have back with us our good friend David Kupelian. He's an author with WorldNet Daily, WND.com, one of the great websites of our day, and he's authored quite a few books. The one that you see right now is The Snapping of the American Mind. This is a must-read. The Marketing of Evil, that was the first one of your books that I read, David, that I just went, oh my stars. You know, I wanted to read it, then I didn't want to read it, and I kept reading it because I didn't want to. I kept reading it because I know I had to read what I didn't want to hear.
All my books have a happy ending.
Yes, they do. But it's very good stuff. All right, so do you think President-elect Donald Trump should go in and govern as if he's going to be a one-term president now that he has the House and the Senate?
Darn right. It may be, you know, historically it's possible that they lose the part of the Congress after 2 years. There's these historical moves where the public somehow sort of intuitively wants to go toward divided government, and so it's possible that you know, this is what happened with Obama. He had the Democrats in charge for the first 2 years, and that's when they jammed through Obamacare and the $1 trillion stimulus and all the rest, with all those shovel-ready jobs that never materialized. So yes, he needs to go out of the gate. And you know, it's a funny thing. Whenever the Democrats are in charge, they say, we got it, we won, we got the mandate, and we need bipartisanship as long as it means we do things our way. When the Republicans are in charge, they say, well, only half the people voted for you, so you need to kind of be halfway for us and do our thing. No, you don't. Especially since this is not, you know, this is not like a Christmas sled that we're like sharing with our younger brother. Well, I'll go half the time, you go half the time, okay. Their agenda stinks. It's what we've had for 8 years. I mentioned in the first segment, our economy does not work. Hannity, God bless him, he goes over these statistics every night, but if you stop and think about it, when he says there's like, you know, 94 million people out of the labor force, and I can't remember all the stats, but you were talking tens of millions of people in poverty on food stamps. If you just stop for 1 second, you think, what does that mean to be in poverty, dependent on food coupons and so forth? That's pretty rough. Multiply that times 10 million, 50 million, that's awful. That is the economy we've had for 8 years because we put a doctrinaire, socialist or Marxist, whatever you want to call it, okay, in charge of the world's most powerful capitalist economy. Barack Obama hates capitalism. I'm not using a strong word for effect. That is the word. He, like other socialists, hate capitalism. They think it's inherently unfair. Barack Obama believes, like most socialists, believes that the #1 role of government is to redistribute wealth, to make it more fair. That is, you know, that is on an egotistical, shallow level. Well, that's fair, you know. Like you've got, we're all farm animals, and well, these goats over here have too much grain, and these don't have any, so no, we have to take it away from you. You know what, Perry? We're not farm animals, okay? And these people are not our gods. Socialism doesn't work. You can't name me a country where it's ever worked, including in Scandinavia. So that's the problem, is that we have an economy that doesn't work, and then every other area, okay, that you care to look at. I mean, we don't even have time to go over it all, but you know, national security and the burgeoning jihadist assault on the Western world, which we see in Europe and in America. They're just breathing fire, wanting to have. There's no limit to how low and how evil they would go. If they could nuke our nation, if they could release poison gas and kill 10 million people, they'd do it in a heartbeat. Okay, so Obama is, between him being so captive to his ideology and his resentments, okay, against the United States, against capitalism, against Judeo-Christian values, I would say. You know, we need relief from that. Hillary was basically saying, I'll do more of the same, except I'm more crooked, okay? So we're saved from that. So now we have an opportunity. What we've been given is a chance, okay? Donald Trump, I love the man. He cannot make America great again by himself, okay? You look at what was also on this ballot. We had several more states legalize marijuana, including California.
Yeah.
Now, all of the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, where we are in California, it's a big haven for pot smokers. They legalized euthanasia in Colorado. We still have 3,000 abortions per day in this country. We have tremendous degradation and corruption. You know, we have basically abandoned our traditional Judeo-Christian values, which did us pretty darn well for hundreds of years, and we all threw it out the window. This is the gift to America from the progressive left, who they look at themselves as morally superior to us. They do, okay? Right. And they have given us the sexual revolution, which has destroyed families, given us divorce, fatherlessness, all the rest of it. It is a delusion that they are tapping into something that is of a lower order. Okay, in other words, the lower part of human nature. You know, Winston Churchill said socialism is the gospel of envy. It's based on envy. That's a bad thing. That's one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not covet. So it's coming from it's glorifying the darker part of human nature, let's put it that way, their agenda. And that's what we've had. So Trump, and thank God, he will be surrounded by, you saw the people that he thanked the other night, people like Ben Carson. He has a whole faith team. Of course, his VP-elect now, what's his name?
Not Kane.
Not the other guy, Pence. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's early in the morning. Yeah. Mike Pence, a wonderfully solid, faithful Christian man, okay. A vice president can be very influential, as Dick Cheney was for George W. Bush. So he's going to have a good team around him. And yes, he should absolutely grab that as a mandate and go and do everything he can. And he's already laid out a plan for 100 days. We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare and all the rest of it. He just needs to do it. And for God's sake, the Congress needs to enable it and get behind it and not be the spazzy way that they've been the last few years. And the thing about that is that they've been so afraid of the news media, the Congress. Well, the news media have lost all their credibility now. Yeah. And so they have less to be intimidated by because nobody believes the stupid mainstream media because it's all a charade anyway. Yeah. They're just a branch of the Democratic Party. So hopefully the win will be to the back of Congress, and they'll have less to be afraid of and fearful of.
Boy, you bring up a lot here. Yes, he won against the media. He won against the Democrats. He won against unbelievable collusion from the higher-ups. He won against corruption, and the list goes on and on. And he won against the Republicans. You know,
absolutely.
He won against everything, Hollywood, everything, and he comes out with this mandate. Now, back to, why did God give us this miracle? To give us time to do what? Why would God save America? Is it a result of us praying, and were we desperate enough? And he says, all right, I'll give you another chance. I know it's a big question. I don't know if we can answer it. We had Benjamin Netanyahu's response to the president-elect, which was, you could just see it in him. He was elated that finally I got
a friend of Israel.
I'm going to go back to the White House, and this time I'm going in the front door.
Right.
You know, and you could tell he was genuinely excited. You know, and I know the scripture says, I'll bless those that bless you, curse those that curse you. We have not had a good relationship with Israel. So did God save America for Israel? Did God save America for America? Did God save America for evangelism? Why do you think this happened?
You know, who can search the mind of God? But I do, if we just bring it down to the microcosm. Yeah. Say, why does God? Isn't there a psalm that says, you know, who is man
That God is mindful of them.
Yeah. It's like, you know, if you're a reflective person, introspective person, and you see how absolutely broken and I'm not trying to talk, you know, Christianese here, okay? Right. The truth is, like, I'm a journalist. You look at things objectively, right? Right? If you look objectively within, okay, you're a mess, okay? Your nature, that it's like, you know, if you believe, like, you know, born into, you inherit a fallen nature, whatever you want to call it, it's not all good what's in us, okay? So if we find God's grace, okay, it's like the Amazing Grace hymn. We say, how do I deserve this? And the answer really is, we don't. I can't see. I mean, that's biblical, that we don't, unmerited grace and all that, but just forgetting that for a moment, I don't know, because just, you could say that if I were God, I wouldn't have mercy on America, because you look, there's justice and there's mercy, and they seem to be like balancing things, you know. Mm-hmm. God said, Adam, if you eat of the fruit, you know, you will die, but then he sent his son, so God could be just, but the punishment went to his son, so he's able to be both just and merciful at the same time. It's way beyond my understanding, but I'm saying this was traditionally a Christian country. This was the light of the world, as far as nations go. And all I can think, and this is just in my own private thoughts, and many people I'm sure had the same type of thoughts, was why did God allow this? Because it would have been so horrible. I believe more horrible than people understand if the Clintons went back in the White House. That he just had mercy on us just because he's a merciful God. And he loved us. And yes, I like to believe that there were enough halfway decent. There's a scripture that says the prayers of the righteous availeth much. I'm in no way sitting here saying I'm righteous or that anybody that I know is righteous, but you know, maybe just sort of enough in there, I want to be righteous, that he cared and he said, look, I'll give you another chance here.
David Kupelian, you can go to WND.com and read a lot of his articles. I don't know, what are you writing on this week, real quickly?
Oh gosh, all the pre-election stuff is really dark about Hillary Clinton and why you don't want to vote for her. And so now it's just like, I'm on cloud nine waiting for the next thing. The next thing will be like, you know, along the lines of what you're talking about, what Trump needs to do going forward.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a delight. And again, go to WND.com and read the articles. Look for his books, The Snapping of the American Mind, The Marketing of Evil, still very relevant, and a bunch more. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.